Hello everyone, Fredrex here. Welcome back to the Millennium Godzilla review series on my channel once again. So today's installment, which is basically the fourth installment in the Godzilla Millennium series, and it's basically another reboot, ignoring all the previous films except the following of the original. So, yeah, for the past like 4 years for another reboot. Wow. So yeah, this movie was released in December of 2002 in Japan and Toho once again. It is, of course, Godzilla X Mechagodzilla. Well, of course, in America, when it's DVD released, they title it Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla. Well, that just doesn't make any sense because in the original title in Japan, they call it Godzilla X Mechagodzilla or Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 3. Yeah, it's quite confusing, but I call it Godzilla X Mechagodzilla because it's random. It's just easy to follow up with, you know? So yeah, the movie is, I really like this movie, so I have to tell you everything about this, like one of the reasons why I like it and reviewing it, my thoughts on it and everything. So this movie's really good. So it starts with the military being in the middle of a country around Japan, and Godzilla shows up in the middle of a storm, and they try to take care of him, like try to blast him away with their cannons and their stasis tanks. And one of the soldiers is a girl, which is actually our main protagonist, the main human in this movie. It's a female. Her name is McConaughey, so she's our main female lead. And she's basically joining into the forces with the military with Godzilla. And they tried stopping him, but until then, Godzilla wipes out half of the military and knocks her over in one of the tanks, and actually wiped out one of the soldiers. Pretty much Godzilla squished on him, and she saw all that, and she's the one to blame. So yeah. Until then, Godzilla roars up to the sky, and when thunder hits, and gets into the title card and the music. So yeah. Later on, so after the credits and the beginning credits and the intro, it gets to 3 years later. Until then, McConaughey actually quits out the military, and she works in a library, and pretty much she's the one to blame. That the people that she's the one to blame that she thinks she's the one to blame that the soldiers 3 years ago got killed by Godzilla from the past. So she's basically felt sorry for them. She's basically is depressed, and she's pretty much the main lead in the movie, like I said. So now she's probably gonna plan up to have revengeance with Godzilla, so it's up to her being against with Godzilla and her depression. So yeah, we have to follow up to this character throughout the whole movie. And the other thing, the military is planning out everything. Like when they said for the past few years, when the kaijus are attacking around Japan, they have to protect the future by building a giant robot. So they found the original bones of Godzilla under the sea since the 1954 film, and they built Mechagodzilla over the bones of the original Godzilla, so which is Mechagodzilla. But in the movie they call him Kiru. I just do not know why they call him Kiru. It's just kind of a dumb nickname they gave him. And sometimes they call him Mecha G. So I like to call him Mechagodzilla because that's in the title. So anyways, they're testing out Mechagodzilla for the past few weeks until they test him out with the ice cannon on his chest to shoot a giant brick, whatever it is, and then just turns into ice, and he does a really loud stomp, and then it just breaks down into pieces, into ice cubes. So yeah, that's their plannings to kill Godzilla, use Mechagodzilla to fight over Godzilla and blast him away with a ice cannon on Mechagodzilla's chest, which is pretty interesting. So, until later on in the movie, Godzilla attacks. So, I'm going to tell you about Godzilla's design. Godzilla's design in this movie is actually aspiring look to the Millennium 2000 Godzilla, which is okay. They pretty much brought him back to his old classic look with those white spines and brung back his blue atomic breath, which that's okay. So pretty much this is one of my favorite Godzilla suits, one of my favorite Godzilla designs in my top 10. I mean my top 5. So until then, later on in the movie, when there's a baseball team playing baseball, in the middle of it, Godzilla appears and out of nowhere until people evacuate out of the baseball field until Godzilla attacks. So later on, the military are flying into jets and carry Mechagodzilla all the way over there to attack Godzilla. Until then, They start fighting him. Mechagodzilla shoots his missiles and everything. And pretty much, Godzilla pretty much did a really loud roar. Until then, Mechagodzilla gets triggered. Basically, the roar just triggers its memory from the Godzilla DNA inside the bones from the 1954 memory of Godzilla, and pretty much Mechagodzilla is going berserk. So pretty much Godzilla just made his escape until Mechagodzilla starts attacking everything around Japan. So when that scene happened, that scene blew me away as a kid. So when I was 7 years old, I watched this movie since I was 4 and 7 years old. So yeah, that mind just blew me away as a kid. So that basically was like Mechagodzilla's being back into the original Godzilla, you know? Until then, he starts attacking everything, like he shoots missiles everywhere. He was about to shoot the military men inside the jets. Until then, his eyes just glows red and everything, like he's going like berserk and evil looking. Until then, they have nothing to do except wait for him to run out of battery. So yeah. That's one of the one of the things that's odd about Mechagodzilla. He pretty much he runs out of battery. He runs out of power. So pretty much when he runs out of power, they have to charge him up inside the jets. So yeah, that's pretty weird. Okay. So until then, a few hours late. So yeah, for like an hour later, Mechagodzilla still attacks Japan around Tokyo. Until then, he crashes through a building. Until then, he's finally out of battery, and now he just died with battery loss. So yeah, they have to bring him back to the military base and repair him. So they have to repair him. So they have to make sure he won't go berserk again. He won't go crazy, you know. Until then, since the military brung back McConaughey, they're like one of the guys is just overreacting to her, like pretty much everyone, you better watch out, or else this girl won't. She'll just make a few mistakes out of you until you're dead, you know, because pretty much like 3 years ago she made a few mistakes from her past that she blames on herself for Godzilla killing some of the military guys from their team. So pretty much she comes back and then does continue back her exercise, doing gymnastic moves or whatever, like training herself. Until then, she joins forces back to the team in the military until when they control Mechagodzilla. So yeah, she's just a really interesting character. Like, she's so interesting to listen to. Until then, like, again, she has to be against with Godzilla and her depression, so she's taking vengeance on Godzilla. It's pretty much like Kariko from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, you know? So yeah, later on in the movie, at night, Godzilla comes back, he just awoke in the water and just came back flying into Japan, going back in Japan and starts attacking Tokyo once again at nighttime, which is pretty cool. I really like that. Pretty much like the whole movie, you know, Godzilla's supposed to be a threat, like the main villain in this movie, because he is the villain. So Godzilla starts attacking Tokyo all over like always. Until then, he just brings everything on fire. Until then, the military has to bring back Mechagodzilla to stop him. So they have to be like, well, if we bring back Mechagodzilla to fight again, it better not go berserk again. So we just gotta make sure all that would not happen. So the team is like, we are positive that Mechagodzilla would not go to berserk again. We promise. Until then, they brung him back. So they charge him up and he's all ready to go. Mechagodzilla is ready to fight Mechagodzilla over Tokyo at night, which is going to be a really cool climax. So yeah, with Godzilla attacking there, pretty much the jet starts dropping Mechagodzilla and starts flying towards Tokyo, which is a pretty cool piece of CG. Like, the CGI looks so clean in this movie when Mechagodzilla flies over all the way to Tokyo. Until then, Mechagodzilla stops Godzilla, and then Godzilla just flews like across like the roads until he lands into a parking lot. Like, that's just hilarious. Like, Mechagodzilla just pushes him, and he just flew into the air. He just flew. So yeah, that's just hilarious. Until Mechagodzilla and Godzilla starts having a rematch around Japan. So yeah, this is pretty much an epic fight. So pretty much like Mechagodzilla starts jumping all over the place, like pretty good CGI once again, which he's jumping all over the place, and Godzilla just gets like really aggravated by Mechagodzilla, like pretty much like keeps shooting him, like whacking him with his tail, keeps punching him with his fists, you know. It's a really fun fight. And pretty much like Godzilla keeps pushing him and throwing him, knocking him over in buildings. It's just a really fun fight, in my opinion. And pretty much when Godzilla is basically taking down Mechagodzilla, tearing him apart like just until then Mechagodzilla just shoots his blue cannon pack towards Godzilla and then just hits Godzilla and just basically just makes him mad, you know? Until Godzilla just knocks him out. So yeah, so pretty much like the military has nothing to do until McConaughey is the one that has to be responsible for repairing Godzilla inside. Mechagodzilla inside of the machine, you know? So they have to bring her over there so she can grappling hook all the way up into Mechagodzilla, opening a door inside, and so she can go inside of Mechagodzilla and repair him. And pretty much until she repairs him, now McConaughey is now controlling Mechagodzilla, and now she's gonna go join forces with Mechagodzilla being against with Godzilla, and pretty much she has to do everything through that situation though. Until Mechagodzilla tries to shoot the ice cannon on Godzilla, but every time they try doing that, everything goes wrong until pretty much Godzilla just whacks him or throws him until Mechagodzilla's flew and the ice cannon just launches onto something else, like 2 buildings, like vanishes. Like, that's just so cool. Until then, Mechagodzilla has to get back up and continuing wrestling Godzilla until pretty much Godzilla has no choice. Godzilla pretty much has no choice to begin with until Godzilla just grabs the jet, which just flies right towards him and just grabs the jet with his mouth, and pretty much Mechagodzilla has to charge up the ice cannon again until launching towards Godzilla and then grab his mouth and grabs him until like takes him all the way to the ocean so they can blast the ice cannon on Godzilla. Until the ending of the movie when the ice cannons blast on Godzilla when it was with a huge ice cube in the middle of the lake until Godzilla just breaks out the ice and he's okay. So pretty much Godzilla lost a fight and he just leaves with a big scar on his chest. So pretty much they had a really good victory for now. So Godzilla might be back. So now it just ends up with McConaughey being on Mechagodzilla's shoulder. So it ends up McConaughey staring at Godzilla leaving the ocean on Mechagodzilla's shoulder until the military celebrating with their very first victory of Godzilla's loss. Until then, Godzilla will come back. So the Japan and the military are now celebrating and they are safe for now. Until then, the movie ends. So yeah, that was Godzilla X Mechagodzilla. It's definitely one of my favorite Godzilla movies ever, and it definitely is on my top 10 as well. This movie is really greatly written, has great characters, and Godzilla and Mechagodzilla are cool, as always, and the ice cannon is pretty neat on Mechagodzilla, and pretty much when they brought back Mechagodzilla, they made him look modernized looking, a modernized update of the original 74 Mechagodzilla. So yeah, that was Godzilla X Mechagodzilla. Is a really good movie, and I definitely recommend you checking this out for any Godzilla beginners out there. So I give Godzilla X Mechagodzilla a solid 9 out of 10. This movie is just top-notch and clean. So this movie is great, so I definitely recommend you to check this movie out just to see how great a Godzilla movie how great another Godzilla movie can be. So anyways, with Godzilla X Mechagodzilla out of the way, next time we're going to be checking out its following sequel, Godzilla Tokyo SOS. My most favorite Godzilla movie throughout the entire franchise, and I'm finally going to get to review it. So stay tuned for that review, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So take care, have a good one, and bye-bye.